Okay, good morning. We are starting with math today. Today is August 5th. It's Wednesday. Making sure that you're grabbing your Math Volume 1 workbook, not the one that says homework and remembering on the top yet. Okay? I had to restart the video, so you're going to see some of this is already done. All right, we're completing pages 10, 19, and 20 today. So we're on page 10 right now. The vocabulary word at the top says function table, so go ahead and say the words function table. We're going to practice with equal groups, and we're going to work on completing each function table. I'm going to do number 10 for you. You'll do 11, 12, and 13 alone. So number 10 says the number of tricycles, and there's a picture of a tricycle above, and then we have to fill in the number of wheels depending on how many tricycles we're given. Okay, so if I don't know how many wheels a tricycle has, I can count using the picture. So there's 1, 2, 3. But hopefully we do know, because we did study shapes last year and we did talk about triangles and how tri actually means the number 3. Tri means 3. Okay, so you will see I already started to work some of these out. If I have one tricycle, how many wheels do I have? I have 3. If I have 2 tricycles, how many wheels do I have? Well, I'd have to do 3 plus 3. That would give me 6. If I have 3 tricycles, I'm going to do 3 plus 3 plus 3. I have 9. 4 tricycles, 3 plus 3 plus 3, plus 3, I think one more, is 12. And then lastly, 5 tricycles. I'm going to add 3 5 times. And that's going to give me 15, okay? Now, I would prefer for you all to change these into multiplication problems. So number 1 is actually 1 times 3, 2 times 3, that answer is 6, 3 times 3, 4 times 3, 5 times 3. Okay? So you'll do 11, 12, and 13. All right, now let's look at page 19. All right, here we're going to actually look at what is called arrays. So your vocabulary is array, row, and column. These are words that we used last year when we studied bar graphs. So we're going to explore arrays. An array, you can read this with me, is an arrangement of objects in rows and columns. You can use multiplication to find the total number of objects in an array. So a row goes across, a column goes down. So there are 2 rows and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns in this. Okay, you guys? So here we say 2 rows of 5. So 2 rows going across, and there's 5 columns. 2 times 5, which would be the multiplication problem because there's 2 rows, 5 columns. 2 times 5 is going to give us 10. All right? So we're skip counting by 2s with that problem. Okay, write your multiplication equations. Write a multiplication equation for each array. I'm only going to do number 1 for you because I think this will be pretty easy for you guys to figure out. Number 1, how many flowers? So let's see, there are 1, 2, 3 rows. And yes, I would like for you to label just like this. And there are 4 columns. So, writing multiplication equation for each array, the equation would be 3 times 4. And what does that equal? That is 12. Okay? All right, so go ahead and do 2, 3, and 4 there. All right, and your last page for your math workbook, we still have to do your math homework and remembering, is comparing arrays. So without counting the dots, you guys, this is really important. And in fact, I'm even going to highlight it. If you're counting the dots, that's work that you can do in kindergarten. All right, so we're not trying to count the dots. In the array, write greater than, less than, or equal to in the circle, okay? You can label your arrays. That would still be fine. So you have 2 columns here, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4 rows here. Here you have 2 columns, and here you have 3 rows. So because of that, I know that 4 times 2, the array of 4 times 2 is greater than the array of 3 times 2 because we have the same number of columns, but we have a different number of rows. So use that same reasoning for all of your problems, 6 through 13. Okay, now let's do your homework and remembering book. We're done with this workbook, so I'm going to put that away. And now I've got my homework and remembering workbook, and I'm turning to page 6. I'm going to complete page 6 and page 9 today. All right, here we go. Okay, it says on page 6, write each total. So 3 times 5, remember you're going to skip count by 5. So all you're going to do is 5, 10, 15, and I know that my product is 15. You'll do number 2 alone. Number 3, you have to actually write the 5's additions that show each multiplication and then write the total. So you're going to do 4 times 5. So the same thing that you're doing up here. So I'm not going to write that out just because there's only 2 times for you to practice here. So I would like for you to try to work that on your own. Then it says find each product. You're multiplying by 5s. It's using either an X, an asterisk, or a star, or a dot. And we know that all of those symbols mean multiplication. So number 5 would simply be 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35 because it's 5 times 7 or 7 times 5. And number 14 wants you to draw a picture to show 3 times 5. Explain your drawing and find the product. So you could think of columns and rows like we did with your classwork, or you could even do an array if you already feel comfortable with that. All right, and we're also completing page 9. So what's your study plan? How about I'm going to re-watch my teacher's instructional video. Okay? Who is your homework helper at home? You can get them to sign. All right, your directions rather say to write a multiplication equation for each array, and number 1 says how many muffins are there. So again, what you can do is you're writing the equation. So you've got 3 rows and 1, 2, 3, 4 columns, right? So I'm going to do 3 times 4 equals 12. All right? Okay, now you will go to IXL. Please make sure that you are completing your yellow stars. I'm going to add a few yellow stars today, so you need to make sure you work on those first. Once you're done your yellow stars, then you can go and do anything else. All right, for reading, your directions say that you need to, now this is my teacher's manual, you need to read the rest of First Day Jitters. Your textbook looks just like this with the raccoon on top. So finish reading First Day Jitters, and then you're going to come over to your reading practice workbook, which is this book, right? And you're going to complete page 12. Okay, so yesterday you should have filled in your character, your setting, what happened at the beginning. After you finish reading today, you're going to fill in what happened in the middle, and then at the end, and you can even start that with in conclusion, okay? Or we could use in the end what happened. And this sentence will probably start with the main character's name. All right? Okay, so then you're also going to be completing page 16. Which is working on your spelling words. So it says look at the word, say the word aloud, study the letters in the word, write the word, check the word. Did you spell the word right? And if not, go back to step 1. So what you would do this on is on your whiteboard, okay? So what you can do is right now you can go get your whiteboard and your dry erase marker, and I will say the word to you, And you can practice writing it, okay? If I go too fast, you can pause me. Number 1, sock. Number 2, dress. Number 3, trap. Number 4, bump. Number 5, fed. Number 6, pick. Number 7, ramp. Number 8, back. Number 9, top. Number 10, brick. Number 11, kiss. Number 12, cut. Number 13, duck. Number 14, pep. Number 15, bond. All right, so then go back with your whiteboards and check your answers using the list here. Whichever words you didn't spell right, highlight the word here in your book so you know that's what you need to work on. If you spelt it correctly, you've already got it. Good job. Then you're going to come back and you're going to find the rhyming words. Circle the word in each row that rhymes with the word in the dark type. And remember, even if I can't read these words, you guys, I know my letters. All of you in our class know what your letters are. So you can compare your letters. So even if I can't read this, though I did just read through all the words, I can look for letter patterns, right? So all of my letter patterns in this row end in CK. All right, so I can't, that doesn't really help me. All right, but O-C-K. All right, let's see. That vowel is U. Oh, O-C-K. Let me put a star. I'm thinking it's that one. I see. Yes, it is. Okay, so sock, rock. Sock, rock. Good. That's the one you are rhyming with. Very good. Okay, then you're going to continue to work on your spelling. This is like the work we did last year if you were in my class. You are searching through, or you should be reading through your paragraphs to find the words that are misspelled. You can highlight the words using your highlighter and then rewrite it down below. So let's see, it says join the drama club. You can step up on a stage and be a star. So step I know is spelt wrong. It should only have one P. Step. All right. Okay, and then you are done with your reading work in your book. You should be going to Raz Kids and getting some reading done in Raz Kids today. All right, next we're going to our writing notebook. You should have your spiral notebook with your label at the top that says writing. If we are going in order, we have our beautiful pre-writing for our prompt, what are my goals for this year? Actually, we're going to just do paragraph 2. Okay, then if I go to my rough draft, that should be the title of my next page, and I should have boxed it in as green because this is my main idea paragraph. I'm going to reread my main idea paragraph just to get my mind aligned back to what I worked on yesterday. Okay, so it says, rough draft 1. Have you thought about your goals for this school year? I know that this year will be very unusual. I have many goals to make sure it goes smoothly. Wow, that's a great first paragraph. Okay, so now I'm going to choose any one of my yellow bubbles, and that's going to be my next paragraph. And my main idea will be what I put in my yellow. So I feel like this is a really important goal for me this year, is to stay on schedule daily. So that's going to be my next paragraph. Now, if this is my first detail, I'm going to start this paragraph with the word first. Okay? So remember I'm skipping lines every time, and we already learned to indent last year. So we also learned to use our transitions last year. My transition for this paragraph is first, by comma, first. My goal, and I'm going to start with my goal because that's part of my main idea, right? That's what my paper is about. My goal is to stay on schedule every day. All right, now I'm going to stop right here. You guys know in language arts we're learning questions and statements. So I'm going to put in another question. First, my goal is to stay on schedule every day. How will I do that? Well, I will go to bed early and wake up on time. I will, remember I'm skipping lines, check Google Classroom every day, and I will turn in my assignments each afternoon. Okay? So there's my second paragraph, and I'm trying to find my crayons. I'm not following my own rules. I usually keep them. Actually, I do have a tub for my workspace, so I'm just turning around in my tub. But usually I try to get everything out on my desk before I do my video with you guys to prepare. That could be something else that I write about. All right, so remember this is detail 1, which we did for first. And so then it's yellow, so I'm going to put a yellow box around it, all right? Because that's detail 1. Got it? Okay, beautiful job. So we'll come back to this tomorrow for paragraph 3, but very beautiful job. You're going to want to hang on to this notebook. We're coming back to it. Okay, we just practiced writing a question and we wrote a few statements in our writing notebook. Now we're going to transition into language arts. And you know what? From now on, we should probably do language arts first. Okay, so you received in your bag a little composition book like this. This is for language arts. Now you can totally decorate the cover of this if you have markers, which in our next pickup I'm going to give you a new set of markers. But you can totally decorate this workbook, the front of it. Language arts is all about grammar, so if you want to write capital letters all over the place and make it really cute, you can do that. All right, but this is what we're doing our language arts in, or will be part of what we do our language arts in. You need to make sure you go in order, okay? So what you're going to do, your directions ask you to write 4 statements and then 5 questions in your language arts notebook. So I'm going to skip lines. I'm going to write statements. And they can be statements about anything, but I would like for you to try to make sure they start differently, okay? So I'm going to write statements. Let me see. I don't know if I've got enough space to skip lines. We'll see. And then I'm going to write 5 questions. And they, again, can be about anything, okay? Now, if you need extra support, questions normally start with the words who, what, when, where, and how. And I think I'm going to choose one topic to write about. And I think I'm going to write it about what's going on in the world right now. So I'm going to write, one of my questions is going to be, when will we go back to school? Now, I started with a capital letter, my question, and if it's a question, then I end in a question mark. That's the most important thing right there, okay? After it dry, you should be using pencils so you can highlight your question mark after. All right, but I'm going to make sure I emphasize that I started with a capital letter and I ended with a question mark. Now, a statement can be, I hope, remember, I'm writing about one topic, so I hope I can see my students very soon. Now this is a statement, so I'm starting with a capital letter just like I did with my question, But this time I'm ending in a period because it's a statement. All right? So that's what you're working on today. Go ahead and date it at the top. It's the 8th month, which is August, and it's the 5th day, Wednesday. All right? Statements and questions, 5 each for language arts. Keep good track of this, you guys. It's a little flimsy, so that's why you need to make sure you have a really nice workspace to keep everything in. I've worked hard on my workspace as well. Okay, now we are going to science. So you will need your textbook. Here's the resources you will need for this assignment. You'll need your textbook. You'll need your science study notebook. Be careful, there's 2 books that look very similar here. This is the science study notebook, not the interactive, all right? In your science study notebook, we're going to complete page 5. Now, if you were in my class last year, you're familiar with how to do this. Okay, so we are going to work with our vocabulary. It says to use this with chapter 1, and I'm going to actually show you where you can find the answers. So find each word in your glossary at the back of your book. Read its meaning. Then write the letter of the meaning on the word on the line next to the word. Let me read that again. Then write the letter of the meaning on the line next to the word. Okay, so you're giving your vocabulary words here. You're giving your definitions. All you have to do, and remember I have my teacher's manual, so yours is going to look a little different, right? Is you're going to get your workbook, or I'm sorry, your textbook that looks like this, has a giraffe. You're going to turn to the back. Then you're going to have a whole bunch of words, just like in a dictionary, right? And the difference is, however, that the words in your glossary are only the words that are associated with science in this book, okay? So it's sort of like a mini dictionary for your science subjects. All right, with the page that I turned to, I'm trying to see if one of these words would be on this page, but it won't be. Okay, so I'm going to turn, everything's in alphabetical order, right? So I'm going to turn the page, and I'm learning about energy. So look, there's the word energy. Again, everything's in alphabetical order. So it says the ability to do work or cause change, ability to make things move, stretch, or grow. I remember we filled that in our workbook. Okay, so all I'm going to do is I'm going to skim and see if I can find the answer. Okay, I know it's not a wave. The ability to do work and make things grow. Look at that. Number 1 is D. So I'm going to put D next to number 1, and I'm going to cross that off. All right? Okay, so you'll complete the rest of that page using your science textbook. All right, and our last thing that we are doing is social studies. And your assignment is to watch the YouTube link video that I sent to you on Google Classroom, and in your notebook write 4 things that you learned using a complete sentence. So remember, in my writing notebook, I just flip it over. There's social studies. When I open it, I should have done my vocabulary from yesterday. Should all be filled in right here. All right, and then, and actually I'll do mine too so it matches yours. And then what you're going to do is, on your next page, you're going to write what I used a cursive L there, what I learned. 4 things I think I wrote, yes, and you're using complete sentences, so I'm just going to skip lines. I would recommend actually having your notebook set up just like this prior to watching the video. All right, so you should be sitting with this in front of you and then watching the video. Tomorrow, we're actually going to use your vocabulary words in a sentence, so make sure we'll come back to this space tomorrow, okay? All right, you guys, so that's all of your work for today. Please make sure that you do something outside. Please make sure you do something around the house to help your family, and be kind to your brothers and sisters. Have a great day. Bye.